Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Money Bear Podcast. This is your host, Chloe Daniels, better known as Clo Bare Money Coach on the internet. And we release 2 episodes a week. One that is a full on episode, usually some kind of an interview or me reviewing Reddit stories on the internet, or we are doing what we're doing today, which is focusing on a life update from me and a quick money tip that you can start implementing immediately. So the life update, I actually had to record 2 of these in one day. I feel like I used all my life updates in the first recording. So I was sitting here waiting until I was gonna hit record, and I was like, "What is my life update gonna be?" I just gave away all my life updates in the last recording. And I'm like, well, I'm going to San Diego tomorrow. My mom and I are going to go see some whales. Where I'm going to hang out with Delianne. We're going to go see Drew Afualo. And I am so freaking excited. For those of you who don't know who Drew Afualo is, she is the TikTok slayer of fuckboys, of misogynists, of patriarchal bullshit on the internet, specifically on TikTok. She's freaking amazing. She is known for her hyena laugh. She's doing a tour with her sister for Two Idiot Girls, her podcast. And Delianne and I got 2 tickets, 2 VIP tickets, so we get to meet her on Thursday this coming week, and I literally could not be more excited. There are very few like influencers and content creators that I would personally lose my shit to meet. Drew Afualo, I have literally had dreams about being her best friend. I can't even lie. I have literally been like, we're buds. We're hanging out. I love this human being. She's amazing. She's a slayer of all that is the patriarchal bullshit. And I cannot wait to go to her show. So that's happening this coming Thursday. It's Monday as I'm recording this. And yeah, I guess that's kind of a life update. I'm really looking forward to it. My heart is so excited to be back in San Diego tomorrow. I just want to like fast forward to right then and there. But besides that, I really don't have that much else in terms of life updates, do I? I'm working behind the scenes on something new for Clo Bare, and I'm really excited to share it with you. It's going to be a live experience, live-ish, live as in not pre-recorded, and I think it's going to be really helpful for the changing times. I know a lot of people are concerned about a recession and they're not sure what to do about it, so we will be working on that, and I'm really hoping I have it out by March. But we're also in a transition right now where my virtual assistant, one of them, who is also my sister, which I don't even think she listens to this podcast because she hates me, but she is scaling back because she just recently bought a gym. So now I'm like, oh, I'm going to probably have to hire help. So anyway, that's going on as well. So I'm feeling a little overwhelmed with just all the things I have on my plate right now. And I'm excited about all of it, but it's a lot going on. So yeah, I guess it's a life update. So it feels almost insane for me to leave and go on vacation right now, and I have so much to do, but at the same time, can I keep my business afloat for a week? Yeah, I definitely can. So that is the plan. I don't have any other long-term travel, like where I'm gone for an entire week at a time until my brother's wedding in April. So I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to keep reminding myself that this is an amazing experience to hang out with my mom in San Diego. She's her seeing it for the first time. I want to enjoy it, and I'm allowed to enjoy it. What is the benefit of being your own boss if you don't get to manage your own schedule and decide when you do what? So then when I get back, it'll be all steam ahead in terms of working. And I did get quite a bit done last week. I am, like I said before, I'm an Enneagram 3 through and through. And because of that, I almost feel worthless if I'm not like achieving or working or being productive in some way. And so it is actually hard for me to sometimes take off time and like truly be present. So that's something I'm working on. But anyway, that I guess is the money or the personal life update. There's really not much else going on. Um, Other than, I mean, my life is my business. I'm not gonna lie, guys. My life is my business. I do get to see my boyfriend once a month right now. Hopefully, I'll be able to start seeing him more often than that. But we are long distance, and so that does make things complicated sometimes. But I'll get to see him at the end of the month, right before I get my LASIK surgery, my eye surgery. And sadly, I have to let my eyelashes fall out. My fake eyelash extensions have to be gone by then, and I'm really sad about that because I really like them. They're like barely, I have like a handful of lashes left, And I made an appointment to remove the rest of them before in case they don't all fall out between now and then. They're starting to look a little sad. That's okay. So I'll have to get rid of all my lashes, get my LASIK, and then 2 weeks after my LASIK is complete, I can get lashes again. So I'm excited for that already. So by that's what, mid-February, I'll be able to have lashes again. So you guys don't care about this stuff. You're like, okay, on to the money tip. On to the money tip, Chloe. Okay, so since I just mentioned, folks being afraid of a recession, I figured let's start the year off by talking about what can you do this year to prepare for a recession. Now, since we're talking about a recession, I'm going to promote my free recession guide. So I've got a recession guide that I spent many hours putting together for you. And inside of it, it's going to give you a lot of context around recessions. It's going to give you some data around recessions. There is a free planner that I included in there as well to make your recession plan. So download that at thelazyinvestorscourse.com/recession. Those links will be in the show notes, of course. But anyway, what do you do to prepare for a recession if you are concerned about a recession? So the very first thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you have a healthy emergency fund. You also need to take a look at your emergency fund, especially if you've already had an emergency fund. You might need to revisit that because if you had an emergency fund before inflation went up 5% and then went up nearly 10%, well, you might need a little bit more money than you thought. You might need to increase it by 10, 15, 20%. But also, if you've been working on it, now's the time to really prioritize that emergency fund. The general recommendation is to have anywhere between 3 to 6 months of your emergency expenses saved. So those emergency expenses are things like, what am I going to have to pay for even if I don't make any money for the month? What are the things that are non-negotiable I'm going to have to pay for even if I'm not making any money? So you take all that, you add it up. So, you're not going to include trips to the spa. You're not going to include your nails. You're not going to include lashes in my case. You're going to include, if I'm bringing in no money, what do I absolutely have to spend? And then you're going to multiply that by 3 or 6 to get your emergency fund goal. Now, when you're thinking about it, should I choose 3? Should I choose 6? When we're looking at a potential recession, you're always going to probably want to be a little bit more conservative. And so looking at a minimum of 6 is not a bad idea. The traditional recommendation of 3 to 6 is based off of 3 months is if you are a 2-income household, if there's more than one income supporting the family. But if you are a single income household, then you're probably going to want to focus on closer to 6 months of emergency funds. Just because when we're looking at 2 incomes versus 1, the reasoning behind 3 months versus 6 months of the emergency fund is just because if you've got 2 streams of income coming in, you're going to be in a lot better position than if you're just in a 1 income scenario. It's like having multiple areas of support that you can make sure you're going to be okay for 6 months. So if you're particularly concerned about losing your job, or if 6 months doesn't feel like enough, you could definitely look at bumping it up to 9 months. When we're talking about like self-employed folks, I generally recommend focusing on closer to 9 months, potentially all the way up to 12 months, especially if you're a new entrepreneur or you only have 1 stream of income. You want to make sure that you can keep the business afloat. You want to make sure that you're not making panic decisions because of money. And we all know as entrepreneurs, there's going to be up months, there's going to be down months, and there's going to be everything in between. So having that security of a year emergency fund or even 9 months of emergency fund, it gives you that little extra buffer to make smart business decisions. So that's the first thing that I recommend when focusing on how do I prepare for a recession. The second thing is the biggest risk when it comes to a recession is losing our source of income. That's the biggest risk. And we're addressing that and having a solution in place, or at least a Band-Aid in place, by increasing our emergency fund. But we need to really look at, how can I make sure that I'm incredibly hireable? And 2, how do I make sure I don't lose my job? Now, how do we do that? Well, we need to look at, what skills am I missing? What are the things that I'm not doing at work that I really need to brush up on? What are things that I could be improving? How do I make myself indispensable at work? And really doubling down on that in a year where a recession is a concern is incredibly important. That's why with the whole quiet quitting movement, I totally get it. I totally get the desire to not work harder than what you are getting paid. However, the downside of that is that there is a potential for having your job lost in the event of layoffs if you are not making it seem as if you are an essential part of that team. Now, I hate it. I know that's like bullshit capitalist bullshit. But I am telling you this as somebody who has been through a recession and who understands that, yes, that is capitalist bullshit, but the solution is to be a top performer, is to make sure that you're indispensable. So look at what you're doing. Look and talk to your boss. Make sure that you're having conversations about your growth and having these conversations about what do you need on the team? What are things that I can help with? How can I be proactive and look for solutions before there are issues? And are there any skills that I need to be brushing up on? If you are even remotely concerned with losing your job, this next tip is going to be incredibly important as well. And that is leverage your network. So I highly recommend that if you are if you're concerned, or even if you're mildly concerned about your company or something along those lines, start talking to your network early. Start posting on LinkedIn again. Start meeting up with folks for coffee. Start putting yourself out there again so that people can be reminded that one, you exist, and two, you got skills. So if they're ever looking to hire somebody, they may think of you. That is incredibly important. I think it's one of the most underrated things people don't take advantage of. We had Mandy on from Brown Ambition, and she was talking about how you need to start showing up on LinkedIn. You got to start showing your face so that people will think of you when they are thinking, who could be the next person for this position? They'll at least remember your face. And the thing is, people are way more likely to hire somebody they know than to hire some stranger off of a LinkedIn application. So start getting in the space, show that you're proactive, show that you're engaged with the industry, and get out there and do it. And the thing is, with LinkedIn, it doesn't take that long. You could spend 10, 15, 20 minutes a day just going on LinkedIn, commenting on other people's stuff, and posting on your own. Whether it's like an article that's related to the industry, a new update news, and you including your opinion, or if it's just sharing updates in your work and what you're working on right now. So very important. And on top of that, while you're at it, if it has been a while since you've updated your LinkedIn, now's the time to do it. Update the LinkedIn, update the resume, get prepared now so that you are making these preparations while you are still in a good position, not if you lose your job and you're in the panic. Okay. That again, that having that level of preparedness is incredibly calming. And it's also just one of those things that is going to make the transition easier if we ever get to the place where we do need to start sending out a resume, or we do need to start talking to folks again, getting informational interviews, getting our name out there, and all that good stuff. So those are probably my 3 biggest tips: is focus on your emergency fund, protect your income in any way possible, leverage your network, and of course, number 4, think about other ways that you could bring in income. Make a list of 100 different ways that you could bring in extra money if you were to lose your job. I think that list, whether it's taking surveys online, being a VA, consulting, selling my stuff on Facebook Marketplace, taking dogs for a walk, house sitting, all of these, there's so many ways to make money now. If you have a list available to yourself that you can pull out in the event of a crisis, in the event of, holy crap, it's happening, this is not a drill, that is going to make you feel so much better that you have this list of 100 different ways, or even 20 different ways that you could start making money. And if bonus points, if you want to get started now, having 2 streams of income is always better than just having one. So those are probably my top 4 tips. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking like, well, Chloe, you talk a lot about investing. Should I still be investing during a recession? And I answer that in my free guide. So grab that at thelazyiinvestorscourse.com/recession to get the full answer. And spoiler, yes, but I'm going to explain why in my free guide. All right. So thank you guys for joining today. If you've made it this far, please remember to like, subscribe. I guess you can't like, but you can rate us and you can leave a review. And what was I going to say? Oh, duh. You guys can tell I've been it's been a lot of meetings today. But as always, since this is a finance podcast, we're talking about money, please note that nothing on this podcast is intended as financial advice. I don't know you, unfortunately. I might know some of you. Hi, Mom, if you're listening. But If you have questions about your own individual situation, consult with a financial advisor. If you're going to go the advisor route, I recommend going the CFP fee only route. Talk to your CPA, talk to your lawyer. If you've got questions about your own situation, you need to talk to a professional. This podcast ain't a professional. We are enthusiasts here. So, anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye bye.